Hello, it's Dr. Darnese, and welcome back into another episode of The Salon. Today I'm talking about Joyanne Reid. Yes, Joyanne Reid is back. Maybe you saw her on her interview on CNN, but aside from CNN, she has her own podcast on YouTube. No, yeah, on YouTube. And we knew she would. We knew she would be back, right? Joy Reid is giving us joy in a number of ways. So I thought I would talk about what we can learn from Joy's experience, which has been public, right? And so, we all know she got fired from MSNBC. And for many of us, to be fired, to be terminated from a job can seem humiliating, right? And we suffer a loss of identity because so many of us identify ourselves by where we work, the type of work we do, especially people who are in the professions, right? And so we get used to thinking of ourselves as being someone who worked at, right? Or someone who is this. Like I'm a professor, so I can say I'm a professor all the time and I teach at XYZ. But if I'm not at that university, who am I? If you're not at your job, who are you? Do you have that clear in your mind who you are, regardless of where you work or if you work at all? So, what she reminds us is this: we are never safe in anybody's job, right? Joy had been on MSNBC and, she had been doing well. Her show was doing well, at least relatively well. It was a shock that they decided to terminate her. And we know because of the political atmosphere in which we live today in the US, that had something to do with her termination. We already know that. But wherever you are in your life, remember those people can let you go at any moment for any reason. So what does that mean to you? It means have your backup plan, your plan B, right? Something else where you're like, if that thing over there went away, I still have to be okay. So let me not put my whole identity into somebody's corporation, into somebody's job title, right? Whatever it is I do for a living, that's cool, but it's not the entirety of me, right? So that should things go left at work, we're not picking up the pieces of our own identity, right? Now, when you think about it though, sometimes, especially those of us who are on the creative path, we know that we are creative people, but to pay the bills, we have a job. We know that we really want to step into that other version of ourselves. We know that we want to evolve into being, the writer, the entrepreneur, whatever it is. We know we want that, right? And we've been putting it off. We've been putting it off until the kids grow up, they get out of college, until retirement, until you have more money in the bank, whatever it is, you've been putting it off. So when that termination comes, what if you think about it as your freedom papers? Because what we see with Joyanne Reid is, okay, it was a public, she was humiliated. I'm sure she felt that. She shed a tear and let us know. Okay, after you shed your tears, after you pick yourself up, brush off your little knees. Yeah, you took a hit. Yeah. What else? Oh, you know what? These are my freedom papers. I don't have to go to that job no more. I don't have to play those games anymore. I get to actually focus on something else. I get to focus on myself. Mm. And so what did we see Joy do? She took a moment, right? She didn't come right back out, right? She took a moment. Now she has a podcast. Now CNN is like, yeah, come and be a guest commentator on our network. Hmm. We as Black women in particular, we're like, we see you, Joy. We see you, and we're here for you. And when you launch whatever you're going to launch, we're here to support because we recognize her value. Hmm. We recognize her value. And I'm asking you, do you recognize your value so that if you lose your job or if you walk away from your job, maybe it's not a termination, maybe it's time. So do you recognize, okay, I have more value than what these people were paying me for on a job. And I am now going to use my time for myself. So sometimes determination is really your freedom papers to get off the plantation wherever you worked. My mentor has been telling me that for a good long time about, being um, working at a university. When are you going to get off that plantation? And I must say, it can be difficult to leave that good job, right? It can be difficult. Those of us who are over 40, over 50, right, we were raised with the idea that, you get your good job and, you have stability and you can be upwardly mobile, all of that. Mhm. But at a certain point, you got to say, well, I'm going to have to do something different now. And that might mean my good job is gone away. That is an old season in my life. I am evolving into a new season in my life and be good with it. Because that's the hard part right there. And that's where I coach women on that transition in there, stepping away from your previous identity and not quite yet identifying what is the next stage of my evolution or how to feel about it, right? Because as I said, sometimes we feel humiliated or shameful or somehow, internalizing something that really didn't have anything to do with us. But we carry that because we put so much on it. We put so much of our identity into our jobs. And I know about it. I know about it. Hmm. So I coach women who are making that transition. So let me know in the comments if you want that kind of help. But this is not that. I'm not trying to sell you on my coaching package. Also, what can we learn from our good sis, Joy Reid? Trust in your own creativity and your skills and experience. You were not born yesterday. You have experience to show for it. So when Joy was no longer at MSNBC, it took her a minute, as I said, but then she had resources. She had people waiting on her because, again, we recognize her value. We recognize the value of her voice. We recognize that she is a truth teller. So we were waiting, right? So if you think about, are there people who would be supportive of you in your next step? Who are the people who are like cheering you on? Who would be there and like, yes, when you get ready to do that thing, when you get ready to open that restaurant, that coffee shop, when you get ready to do that, start painting, and you have a show, I am there. I'm there and I'm bringing other people with me. How do we sign up for your newsletter? Whatever it is. You're not starting from zero, you're starting from experience. See, this is the benefit. This is the benefit of being over 50, especially because you have a lot of work experience. Don't let nobody out here tell you that you're old. No, we are well experienced. So when we get ready to do a new thing, oh no, we're not starting at zero. I'm not starting over. I'm not starting from nothing, right? Because that can be part of the shame is that, oh no, I'm having to start over from nothing. From nothing, you have an entire life of experiences and professional experiences to bring to anything you're getting ready to do next. Anything, right? So don't ever think, oh no, it's over for me, or, what am I going to do now? Look inside and see what you really have. Mhm. Okay, so with her freedom and skill set, she is blazing her own new trail, Joy Ann Reid. She has found it within herself, and if you go on here and you search Joy Reid on CNN and you see how she handled those people, calmly, confidently. They tried to talk over her, tried to take the floor back, and she's like, "Oh no, hold on a second," right? In her confident, quiet voice, she sat there and held court because she's free. Remember I said her freedom papers? She's free. And she can say what she wants. She can do what she wants. Who gonna check me, boo? I don't have to be on CNN. I don't have to be on anybody's network, nothing. Right? So I say that to say she is modeling something for us. And that is, are you ready to blaze your own new path, new trail? What will it take? Do you need your freedom papers? Hope you don't, sometimes We don't want it to be a termination, when you really got to pay your bills, right? So we don't want it to be a termination. But I'm trying to give you a way of thinking about it. Should something happen to your good job, remember, you're free now. What will you create? And I told you I was going to do some videos here now about being on the creative path and allowing your own intuition to bubble up to the surface and show you the next way to go, because I'm stepping into that myself, right? I've been, professor for, good grief, 20 years. 20 years. And in my career path for more than that, for probably 30 years. All of the schooling that I had to do to get master's and PhD degree, that's a lot of time. Mhm. But I recognize it's a new season, it's a new era, and that's very encouraging and it's very freeing. So I ask you, what you got? What do you want to have? How are you setting yourself up for the next stage? For some of us, it will be retirement, although I'm not really about to retire, but I recognize that I'm setting things in motion or setting a new foundation, right? My foundation will not be somebody's 403B. That's what we call it in academia. Instead of a 401k, it's a 403B. So mine will not substantially be that investment plan from that good job. So it's up to me to establish what is it going to be? How am I going to set my foundation so that when I'm 70, I'm not stressed about money and resources? So we do that together. As I said, I coach women around this. I don't usually advertise that much about it. But y'all here watching me, you may as well know about it. And if that's something that you're interested, how do I get from here to there? How do I bridge these gaps? How do I deal with the uncertainty? How do I deal with how I feel about it? Because it feels very disconcerting. And I do have shame, or, I don't know how I'm going to introduce myself. Sometimes it's as simple as that. I don't know how I'm going to introduce myself anymore. Like when I go out, I used to always say, I'm so and so from so and so, right? Attached to that plantation, attached to that corporation, to that business, to that school. And so we work on that. We work on you because you are valuable. It's not them who made you valuable, it's you who made them valuable. I would always have to remind other professors, this university couldn't do anything without us. The professors, what is the business here? The business is educating people. How are you going to educate without professors? It's not the institution that made me great, it's me who made the institution great. That's how you got to think about it. Okay, that's all for now. I will be back on here soon with another video. I would love to hear in the comments about what you're working on in your next stage or next era. This is my creativity era. And yeah, like that. Bye for now.